I'll tell you today, I've got my buddy with me, Johnny Muncy. And a lot of y'all been sending in questions you want me to ask him. A lot of personal stuff about tattoos and things like that. And we'll get into that. I appreciate Johnny. Johnny's a good fella. He's a real pastor and a real evangelist. He has traveled and done it, and since he can remember, since he stood him on a bucket. Okay? Yeah. And he has, and he's been faithful and been a good fella. And I share this a lot, Johnny. Good intentions ain't worth jack.
Right.
Okay? You got to do what you're supposed to do. Right. And I know a lot of times people say, I try my best. That don't mean nothing. I hate for a pilot to get up there and say, I'm going to fly the plane today, I'm going to try my best.
Right.
I said, let me off. You and you?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think when I think about you, you've stayed the course. Okay? And you've worked the hands that were dealt you at times, too. Okay? And we have to do that.
Right.
That's all part of it. But as I share with you, I've known Johnny for a long time. I don't even know how long. I was young. I remember that, and I've got a lot older. But
it's been a long time.
Yeah, it has. It has. And Johnny has been around, like I said, if you're in the area, you know him. If you know where Shop Holler is, you know him. Okay? You know, we've been there. And he's just a good fellow, known his family for a long time. And I'm glad he's taking time today to let me share with him, let him share some things on his heart. What this program's about, John, the biggest the thrust of what I'm doing at this part of my life. I believe there's information that men like you have, and women. There's men and women like you that have, that people need to hear. And it's not something that you read in a book or you went to the college and learned. It's something you learned in life. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of that knowledge and wisdom is going to the grave. And it's going by the wayside. And if somebody out there would glean something that would change their life. Now, I know we stand in the pulpit and we preach and we share, and I understand all that. But there's so many people that are never going to church. They're not going.
Right.
They're out there, and there's some people that are not going. And I believe there's people going to heaven, they're not going to church. But there's people there.
Sure.
And not just church, let's talk about life. You lived your life. How old are you now, John?
53.
53. I've got t-shirts that old. my daughter had a t-shirt a while back. She had one. It had Farrah Fawcett on it. But I got back in the 70s.
Right.
I told her, I said, you might as well be selling that on eBay. You shouldn't worry. You need to sell that. I keep my stuff off a long time. I found that out. As you get older, you get to where you...
I do too.
Janice keeps making me want to throw my shoes. Now, you need to throw that pair of shoes away and get you some new ones. I said, I just can't do it. I can't do it. I don't know. I'm hard on that. 53. Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty... Tell me, John, what about brothers and sisters? You have any?
I do. I got 2 sisters, and then I have a brother. My dad passed away 2013. My mom's still living. But yeah.
That's good. 2 sisters. I guess they were easy on you, probably growing up. It wasn't a problem.
Yeah. One of them was a lot younger than me.
Yeah.
But yeah, they need to be in church.
Yeah. Well, sometimes siblings are rough on us coming up, and I talked to them. I talked to a lot of. There's a big age gap difference between a lot of people that I talked to.
Right.
Like Charlie Absher, when I was talking to him, there's like 8 or 10 years between him and his last sibling, and he grew up sort of by himself. And he talks about spending a lot of time by himself growing up. Right. And sometimes if there's an age gap there, sometimes you'll spend a lot of time by yourself.
Yeah.
And that's different, isn't it?
It is.
And not everybody can spend time by themselves. I'm not real good at it.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Do you fish or do anything like that?
No, I don't.
See, I don't either.
Yeah,
I don't do any
of that.
Do you hunt?
No.
Me neither.
No.
I can't do it. No. I just can't, I can't do it. I fished twice in my life. Once when I was 6, and Mom and Dad, they showed a picture of me. Another time I tried to fish, and finally I just throwed the worms in out of the little bucket they gave me and said, let them have them. Because they kept getting them off the hook anyway. But I want to fish. I've got a fishing pole in here somewhere. Charlie Absher made me a tackle box. It's in here because I keep everything. But I got a tackle. He loaded me a little tackle box and brought me the fishing pole because I said, I'm going to try to do that one more time, Charlie.
Right.
But I said, somebody's going to have to go with me to get it off the hook. I don't know if I can get it off the hook. And Glenn Krieger told me they swallow them sometimes. And he said, you just have to, well, you going to do that? That ain't nice. That ain't fair. No, it's like, I can't. And then Kenneth Wagner, I interviewed him a while back. He's a hunter. You know, he hunts and goes into, I don't know. And Charlie will hunt. He'll be gone for 2 weeks by himself. Don't talk to nobody.
Yeah.
They just put me in a straitjacket.
Yeah, me too.
I mean,
that's not for me.
I don't know how people do it, you know. And Glenn goes and sits on the creek bank. Oh, it's just when I meditate. I can meditate if I drive to work and back. I can meditate.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't do, but that other stuff, I ain't, you know. And I meet people. Chris Phillips, I talked to him about. He's a hunter. He's a big time game hunter, you know, and goes and does that stuff. But I just, I don't mind shooting a gun.
Yeah. That's me. I wouldn't mind shooting a gun.
Blow up a refrigerator. Blow up a refrigerator or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
We just got to shoot up something like that. We used to claim we went squirrel hunting, but I never shot nothing.
Yeah.
I never could do no good at it. But I don't know if I'll be honest, I don't know if I'd know what to do with it if I killed it.
Me too.
I don't know. But I'm glad there are people that do.
Yeah, sure.
The other things I enjoy, you sit them in front of a Macintosh server with, you know, 3 connections out of Italy, they'd probably be in trouble too. I'm like that when I think about going hunting. Some stuff I like to do, and I'm good at. But the other part of that, and think about it. Well, tell me about your daddy.
He worked in the mines for 36 years. Passed away in 2013. Hard-working man. He I didn't see him much growing up. He always worked double shifts and just. Not around a lot, but was a great provider, great dad.
Yeah.
Worked hard, and he loved his kids. He was good to us. He's awesome.
But wasn't that a different type of cloth that they're cut from? You know, 100%. My dad worked 2 jobs, you know, 2 shifts, worked and went back up. And I had to go to work with him to see him a lot of times. You know what I mean? He worked like that. You know, a lot going on. As he got a little older, he was home a little more, but he, you know, worked like that. And, you know, they done it and they're great providers, but it's a different type of fathers now. Does that make sense?
I agree.
You see some things a little different now. There's some improvements, I think, okay? Some things I don't see as good, but I do see some improvements as far as fatherhood. It's different.
Right.
And they were loving us. You know, your dad loved you.
Sure.
But he didn't, that time, you know, I don't know. It's strange, ain't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
I think about that.
They were tough people. They were very, very tough, and they knew what they had to do, and they did it.
Yeah, that was just a go-getting type of attitude. That was I don't know. It was ambition, but it wasn't the same type of ambition. It was a different type of ambition. They just went at it in a different way, and I see that, and I've seen that in people. I think some of the fathers, I watch them now a little different even than I was. You know what I mean? I see them changing diapers and toting the thing around on their thing. I'm thinking,
no, not me.
I wasn't doing that. You know what I mean? I wasn't changing no diaper.
Exactly.
I wasn't checking to see if the milk was warm. And I surely wasn't carrying no diaper bag.
Right.
I didn't want to run around no pink bow in my hair looking like I was carrying no diaper bag. But I see some of these fathers now, and I'm thinking, you know, me and Janice laugh about it sometimes. It's okay. I think it's weird, but it's okay. I mean, you know, there's a different type of father.
We
think about our fathers growing up.
Yeah.
Your dad worked like he worked and was rough on himself. You know, physically.
Oh yeah.
The stress of it all, wasn't it?
Yes.
When you think about that.
Yeah. Black lung, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Everything that comes with mining. That's what my dad had.
Yeah. Black lung in his heart, wasn't it? Yeah. Stress.
Lots of stress. I know he was under lots of stress. He was in the mining business for several years, and that was always stressful. So yeah, he had a lot of responsibility, and but he was a good dad.
You ever think about the ambition part of that when we talk about ambition? I think there's a struggle sometimes between ambition and really carrying a lot of stress. I mean, you're in a stressful job.
Yes.
Okay, you're in sales and what you do, and I mean, that's a stressful job. Okay, learning how to handle that, I know we talk about the Lord and understand all that, and I got that figured out. But there's another part there. You have to be able to deal with that stress.
Sure.
So you don't carry it home to your kids and your wife, and how do you do that?
I struggle with it.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle with it a lot. I struggle with it tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
But I do find peace in the Lord, and through prayer and try to enjoy my family. And
Right.
we have a full 5-year-old that we adopted, and so she keeps us busy and all the time climbing on us and playing with us
Right.
and that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, it's something that I struggle with.
Right.
Just to be honest, but God helps us through it, and
Yeah.
We do the best we can.
Well, you know, it's to deal with that stress and to be able not to let it give us a heart attack. Okay? You know, because people who care have the biggest battles.
Sure.
You know, I know people who don't care much about nothing. They don't seem to have any problem. They ain't stressed out about nothing.
Right.
You know, they ain't caring who they owe. They ain't caring what's coming up next week. They just giggling and walking around.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, we think we're smart sometimes, and we carry all these burdens and
Right.
we carry all this stuff on us.
Right.
And I don't know where the balance is. You know what I mean? I try to find it at this point, but I'm dead with old age now. But I try. You know, at times in my life, my wife and I used to just pass on the road, going to work and pass each other.
Right.
And babysitter with the kids and think about stuff, and always trying to look and do something else. And I was a little bit of a serial entrepreneur. I always wanted another business, something else, wanted to do something else. And
Right.
and you know, it took a while to get where I started changing those things in my head. It took a little bit of work.
Yeah.
You know, and I found this, and tell me your relationship with your dad. My dad had been passed away about 2 years now, but when my dad passed away, when he died, I sort of lost ambition. I really, for business and for things, because everything, I wanted to make him proud. I lost a little piece when my grandfather died, and I lost a little more when my dad died. It took me a while. Took me about a year or so to get my heart back, because that zeal was, I wanted to please him and talk to him.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And when it's strange, but when my dad passed away, Dad was always gone growing up, so I wasn't around him a lot. I don't have a lot of memories of Dad. We did go fishing a couple times. He took me squirrel hunting. We did some things, but it was he was always gone. So he got out of the mining business in 1993, and I got married in 1996. And between those times, I didn't live at home, so I wasn't around him a lot
Right.
after he retired. But the strange thing is that after he died, I felt closer to him than I ever felt before. And sometimes I'll walk by a mirror and I'll look in the mirror, and it's like, there he is.
Yeah.
And I can see him, you know, in some of features. And but yeah, it's definitely different. When your dad dies, I saw something on Facebook, is when your dad dies, you've lost the one person in the world who wants you to do better than what they did.
Exactly. I remember that.
And I think that's really,
yeah,
it's true.
it's a good word, ain't it?
It is.
It really
It
is.
is.
Well, let's talk about this. When your dad died, how did your role change as a son? I mean, did you have to change gears in area? Did it all stay the same? Did things get easier for you?
Everything changed. Right after that, I went through a divorce, so that in itself was a completely life-changing thing. But when my dad died, it was a whole separate thing. I ended up moving back home. I live in the house where my mom and dad had, and so I'm there. We moved there in 1983. And then I got married and was away from there for 20-some years, and then here I am back again.
Right.
So all of that is kind of strange, but yeah, everything changed there. When you lose your dad, and Dad was like the leader of the family, and
Right.
he's the one we always went to for advice, and he's the one that we always would talk to us and tell us what we needed to do. And so when he passed away, everything changed. We didn't have that. So us brothers and sisters, we kind of leaned on each other a little bit more, I guess you could say, and our mother, of course. But it is different.
What about your mother? I mean, how did that relationship change, you and your mother?
Yeah, it changed tremendously. Mom ended up meeting a guy, which is an awesome guy, Sam Moore. He's just a wonderful guy, good to my mom. So she moved out. I ended up with the house, but there for a long time, we had to take care of her. We had to take the garbage out. We had to make sure everything was taken care of, and I worried about her until she got with Sam, and thank God put somebody in her life that would take care of her and loves her.
I see her. When I see her, she knows exactly who I am. We just talk.
Oh yeah.
I mean, she just talks just like it's.
She's the same.
Yeah, ain't a bit different.
No.
Just talk. But it's there is a change though happens in there that you have to do. Sure. I found it. What I run into when my dad died, I didn't have time to mourn because I had to step up.
Right.
And I don't know if that makes sense in your life.
Sure.
You didn't have time to. Other people had to mourn, and you had to work with them and help them mourn and be there for them.
Sure.
But you couldn't take time and do it because you had to step up.
Right. That's exactly
and
right.
it's okay. Wasn't a problem or an issue, but it's something you have to do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I don't know. I see that happen a lot. I see growing up. Where'd you grow up at? New York City, Atlanta, Mississippi?
I grew up in Shop Holler over in Ward, West Virginia.
I've heard of the city. Yeah. I've heard of that. me and my grandson talk about something. I say something about going up Shop Holler. He said, "Oh, so you left the city of Warren and went up?" I said, "Yes, I left the city of Warren and went up Shop Holler sleigh ride."
That's right.
I said,
the best place to sleigh ride in the world.
Yeah, it's a long walk back up. Nowadays they ride 4-wheelers up there, and go up to the top. But now we had to walk up there and sled. You appreciated the sled ride when you had to walk back up the hill, didn't you?
Exactly right.
Yeah. Well, how was life growing up in Shop Holler?
It was awesome. We had the best childhood, play in the mountains till dark, and a sleigh ride in the wintertime, and probably one reason I'm no good at sports is we had to take a bicycle rim and nail it to the side of a tree and throw that basketball. You couldn't dribble, so I never learned how to dribble. We just throw the ball.
You go down the hill if you lost it.
We go down the hill and then into the creek. So you had to make sure that it was a challenge. But it was good. Family was everywhere. Grandparents. We lived beside my mom or my dad's parents, and my mom's parents just lived right up the road, and cousins around everywhere. And
who were some of them cousins? Can any of them you can remember their names?
No, all of them. I could start from the head of the holler all the way
don't
down.
Give me all of them. Give me a few of them.
I guess Trish was my best friend. She lived next door, and Trish Muncy. But yeah, she lived next door, and then Ricky Muncy lived up in the holler there, and then Tommy, my uncle, lived right beside of us, and Docky and Walter, and
it's a big crowd.
Pete and all those, yeah.
Yeah. And if you got in a fight, everybody's in trouble, wasn't they? If we had any kind of altercations, it was
absolutely.
It was a problem.
Yeah, they all stuck together.
I can remember I shared a lot of times about growing up, things that we did. What are some things you think of it when you're growing up that you did that there's no way you would let your kids do now?
Oh yeah, we'd go in the mountains and we dig in rock piles, and snakes were everywhere. And I was talking to my mom about this the other day. I'm like, I don't know how we didn't get eat up with a snake. I mean, we saw them all the time, but we'd get and play in the mountains and swing on grapevine. I actually broke my wrist swinging on the grapevine.
They break sometimes too, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
grapevines. I can remember rolling down the hill.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But there's no way I'd let my kids do that. Slide on one of them sleds. I broke 3 ribs sliding on a sled. But it was fun.
We used to take cardboard and lay it downhill, make us a slide out of it.
Yeah.
And put you some nails in it to hold it together on the sides, and man, you slide down it. One time I was sliding down that, and all of a sudden something went, ooh, I thought, what in the world? And I slid over a broken bottle glass, and it cut my rear end. right up my butt cheek.
Yeah.
Okay, and I remember reaching back there and pulling my hand out and it bleeding, and I took off running to the house like you'd shot me with a gun. I remember Mom had to take me. I think she took me to Doc Carr. She took me, and he sewed me up.
Yeah.
I said, that's the only way they'll be able to recognize my body if I'm in an accident. I got stitches in my head several places where I got hit with rocks.
Yeah.
We used to throw rocks. I mean, we threw stuff at each other. You know, it wasn't like nowadays. I was trying to explain that to my grandson. I said, about when you make a good snowball, you put a rock in it. You know, let it
Make
freeze.
it go further.
And that sucker, you could knock a hole in the wall with that thing. And we done a lot of stuff when we was little. They outlaw now.
Yeah, no doubt.
I tell them how we played hide and go seek. We used the whole town. You know, we'd hide places and do stuff and play kick the can. He'd know what the heck that was. What are you talking about, you kick a can? He said, it sounds like you're playing tag with a can. I said, well, it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, then I had to explain spin the bottle to him.
Yeah.
He didn't understand what that was at all. He said, what if it lands between two girls? I said, you just kiss them both. I said, well, you think about things that you done growing up, there's no way you'd say, I ain't going to let them kids do that.
Yeah.
You know, I can't imagine my grandson leaving the house and going to the mountains.
Oh, yeah.
And coming back when it starts getting dark.
Right.
Ain't no way.
Yeah, I know.
You'd have one of them Apple tags on him. You know, and you'd be following, peeking in the bushes, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about that stuff. I don't know. I think about stuff, and I think about family. I think about how we love our family, you know, and we're there for them, try to be there for them.
Right.
You know, but, and you know, I know it's a hard thing to think about too, though, in family. I mean, we can do things for family, but family has to do things for themselves too.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Right.
And that's a hard line sometimes to draw.
It is.
I mean, I've run into that before. You can't, you know, so much, because what I found is in your life, say you make a lot of good decisions, and you've made some good decisions, okay? You can't let everybody else's bad decisions choke away your good decisions.
Right.
It don't work like, what do you think about that?
I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
And we can let it happen sometimes.
Yes.
And we write it off to love and caring. But I think sometimes we got to know that we have to do some things, you know, like being mad at your wife because somebody else can't get along with hers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, you got to sort of, I talked to a lot of people about minding your own business.
Yeah.
I said, the more your business you mind, the more your business you'll get done.
Right.
But when you start sticking your nose in everybody else's, it's when you sort of lose track of your own, don't you?
Yeah. That's exactly right.
I run into that sometimes. Well, let's talk about this. Talk about health. How are you? Are you healthy? Are you taking a handful of drugs every morning?
Well,
blood pressure, sugar.
Yeah. Health is not as good as what I would like it to be, but
Okay.
I have a aortic aneurysm
Mm-hmm.
right at my heart,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not big enough yet to where they have to do a procedure on it.
Okay.
So they're watching that to make sure that that stays under control, and that's what the doctor told me to, you know, to take care of myself as far as stress goes, and that I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm like, I got my family, I got church, and I got my job. Which one can you eliminate? But anyway, so yes, I do have some health problems. But
what about blood pressure?
Blood pressure it stays high. Well, not stays high. It's moderate. But with the aneurysm, I have to keep that blood pressure under control because it will cause it to swell up.
A lot of people don't think about blood pressure. You know, my dad didn't, and he had, you know, he lived 10, 11 years after he had his stroke, but he had another one or two in the middle of that and wouldn't even go anywhere, stayed home. But blood pressure and sugar, you know, two things I think you have to really stay on top of.
Yeah.
You know, and I think what happens, John, we don't invest. We think about our family, the church, with this and wife, and we don't invest in ourselves. You know, and taking care of our own health.
I agree.
You know, and we don't do that.
Yeah.
I think it's almost like we sacrifice ourselves thinking we're doing something.
Yeah.
You know, that don't mean I'm not going to have a chocolate donut. Don't get me wrong. Okay, okay. If I keep that sugar around 130, 120, I'll stay with her, all right?
And I don't have a sugar problem.
That's
Thank
good.
God. Thank
That's
God.
real
I got
good.
the blood pressure thing.
Yeah. My blood pressure is pretty good shape. Now I do take a few pills in the morning. I take some for this and for that. And arthritis, I have a little battle with that, my back. And so, but I tell you what, I'm so happy. I'm blessed with my kids and stuff all living close to me. I get to pick my grandson up every morning at 8:15. I pick him up and we go to the gym together and work out together. And every morning, okay, we do that. We swim. We swim 8 laps now in the pool together. We swim and we encourage each other and fuss at each other. And then weights. We do everything together. Bicycle, rolling machine. We do the whole works of everything. And I'm trying to do that a little bit. Now, I went in the other day. I went back to the doctor the other day because I like to renew my diet pills every once in a while. It had been since October. And she said, "Where have you been?" I told her, I said, "I've been real busy." She said, "You ain't been here since October." And I said, "I know." So she said, "You hadn't lost but 1.5 pounds." I said, "Well, Doc, I'm going to get you to do something here now." Real nice lady.
Right.
And I said, "I wouldn't do this, but you're a medical professional." I said, "I want you to reach over and grab his arm." She said, "My Lord." I said, "There it is." I said, "I can't lose weight when I'm gaining this muscle." I said, she said, "My goodness." I said, I rest my case. I'm training for the 70 and over Olympics. I've got 5 years to get in shape. Okay?
Oh,
but you got to take care of your health, John.
I agree.
Okay?
I agree.
And this is the thing, we'll let stress. We'll let stress over something that's, first thing, stress over things that ain't even going to happen. And then we have stress over things that really, overall in life, are small.
Right.
I shared this one time. Beside the church, there was an old house down there where we was at on Shake Rag. Old house, big 2-story house right there beside the church. Well, the city come in and tore it down one day and cleaned it all out. And I shared with the church, I said, somebody gave countless hours of their life to pay for that house.
Right.
And they're gone. Because we're always trading our time for money and our money for stuff. We're always doing that. That's what keeps the world going around. Mm-hmm. Time for money, money for stuff.
Right.
And I said, I just wonder sometimes, the earlier on we can figure out, and the earlier on we can teach our family. Some of us, it's too late. Okay, all right? We're old, all right? I mean, it's going to be hard to make some adjustments.
Right.
Okay? But when I think about our family that we got growing up, if we can really teach them to be careful and what to really stress over and what not to stress over.
Yeah.
And I know we all need some money to make it and stuff like that, but I don't know. I mean, I think about that a lot. I think about success, and I think about things, and I'm glad everybody's not like me. I interviewed a buddy of mine a while back, and he's really a detailed man. He's very much a detailed man. I mean, always has been, and very successful. As far as his family's okay, but financially very successful. And we talked about it, and I said, I'm not that stressed over stuff. I'm very, times in my life, if I can get a little money gathered up in my pocket, I'll leave town.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, at this camper in the driveway, if I knew someplace warm to go, I'd be there now.
Right.
Okay? And I'd be in the Cracker Barrel parking lot or Walmart parking lot, 50 gallons of water, me and Janice just giggling and talking. Okay?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't need as much as I used to. And I don't know if we all need as much as we think we do.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I agree 100%. I think a lot of us have become materialistic. Mm-hmm. And my thing is traveling. I like to travel. I like vacations. Yeah. I like Disney. I like all that. Yeah. All that stuff. But
I love it too.
You can go spend a lot of money. Yeah. Going to those places. But I agree. I think sometimes we the simple things is what we need to focus on more, and I try to do that now. Since I got this report from the doctor, I try to. I'm really, really cautious about my time, and I try to make time for my wife and just one-on-one time, and my kids, and try to text them every day. I love them, and because you know, life is short.
Yeah.
And we don't know when the last moment's going to be, and I want my kids, my family to know I love them.
Yeah. Well, John, you know, there's a lot of people, man, of your age that are dead.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Absolutely.
I mean, they're dead. And I call friends a lot and talk to them. But I swear, I get to call my friends and I find this one's crippled, this one's got this one wrong with him, this one's got 2 knees, and this one's got a bad eye, this one's got going on.
Right.
I'm thinking, man, your health is the most valuable thing you got.
It is.
Okay, but it's the least appreciated
Right.
thing that we got. And really, you know, when you're in the pulpit, it's hard on your heart. Okay? I mean, you know, there's more Pentecostal preachers die than Baptists. Okay? And why? Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
By the time you get up there and hoop and holler and spit and jump on one leg, I mean, it could kill you. Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, but you know, you think about it in your life. I don't know, you know, I didn't pastor as long. I pastored 20 years. So all I pastored one church, and I said all God called me to pastor was one church.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a good pastor, but I pastored people that nobody else wanted to pastor.
Right.
They would actually send people. I had people come to my church and say, this church over here, and I won't even name them, said we'd be better off to come over here with you. Okay? Because they fit in with the poor and the outlaws.
Right.
You know? And I've had times at church that I gave more money out to help people gas money going home than I got in the offering.
Yeah.
You know? But I think, but the lives that you know you're really touching in the end, and the people that they really can reach out and touch, makes a big difference, man.
Right.
It really does. I think about it. But I think if our health is not there, if we don't take care of ourselves, nobody else will. We have to take care of our health and be careful with it, like you're talking about doing.
I agree.
And I think that. Well, Don, let's talk about this. If I had to say, John, what are some goals you set right now for your life, for your family, what are some goals that you can think of that you've set for your life?
I want to continue to live for the Lord. I want to get closer to God. I want to hear the Lord talk to me more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
At Forward Ministries, we have a big vision. I want to do a school. I'd like to have a Christian school.
Right.
I want to do that. I want to have a place where we can help people. And,
right.
It's all about the ministry with me. It's all about church. Always has been. And,
mm-hmm.
and as I get older, it's more and more and more. That's my goal. See my family, of course, be successful. My kids, my wife, she has 4 kids. I had 2 biological kids,
mm-hmm.
and then we adopted one, so we got 7, and we've already got 6 grandkids.
Yeah. I know my mom was watching today. She watches Amanda all the time. She says, I'm telling you, John, I don't know what he signed up for, but he's got a lot of kids there. I said, I don't know. I'll ask you when I see you. I said,
we got a lot. We got a lot, and we got 6 grandkids out of 2 of the kids, so we still got 5 more kids to go, and who knows how many children we'll end up with. I always wanted a big family, and God gave it to me.
You got it.
But that's my goal, and you know, to I hope one day to be able to retire.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll happen or not, but maybe one day.
To retire.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, when I turned 62, I got my Social Security. I wasn't waiting no longer because I figured no better health than I was in. I better get it quick as I could. All right? I remember when my dad got old enough to get his Social Security, you thought he hit the lottery.
Yeah.
I mean, he said, man, I'm alive. In that first couple of checks, you got all this extra money, and then it seems to blend in and you lose it.
Right.
It seems to go somewhere. But you do think about retiring, you know, and I don't know. Still got things that I'm doing, and I got a meeting tomorrow with some people want me to do some more work for them, and I just don't know if I want to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I live in an 800 square foot house.
Right.
Everything's paid for. And I only own 1 credit card, and that's pretty good to be American.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I'm thinking I really enjoy the time Janice and I spend together right now. And at my age, I'm foolish to think I'm going to feel better next year than I do this year.
Right.
So I think when you talk about that balance in ministry and in family, because we have seen so many ministers that have lost their family. Sure. And that's a hard thing to do. I think now in ministry, my kids growing up when I pastored the church, I mean, they remember all that. They remember vacuuming the church. They remember everything they done in the Sunday school classes, running sound and running the video and stuff. I never forget one morning. I used to keep my kids out pretty late on Saturday night. Right. We'd go to horse shows and stuff. We'd lay out all night long. I had one daughter who run the camera for me because we recorded everything I ever done. If I burped, we recorded it. And I don't know all them old tapes, I'm going to throw them away. She'd recorded it, and my son run the sound. Colson run the sound. Now, I kept him out all night. We got in time to take a shower and go to church. Done laid out all night long. And I remember looking over, my son's mouth was wide open. And he was laid back, sound asleep, over with his hand on the soundboard. And I looked back in the back, and my other daughter had fell asleep, and the camera was shooting straight up at the ceiling. Okay? She was good. And I thought, well, it's time to close, I guess. You know what I mean?
Time to go home.
But they remember the service. They remember growing up in ministry. Right. They really do. And that's so valuable.
It is. And
it has to be taken care of and nurtured. It can't be that they're nothing. And
sure.
And we understand God's first, then family, then ministry. That's the way I've always seen it.
I agree.
And but we have to really understand, take care of our family, and including our wife. I had interviewed a man a while back, and he was talking about a great pastor. He said, biggest thing his wife said to him one time when he come out of the pulpit, said, "I wish you was as good to me as you are to those people you minister to."
Yeah.
And that was a hard word for him, he said.
Oh, yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
So goals that you're setting. All right, let's not talk about ministry. Let's talk about goals for your life. When you think about goals in your life, and I know a lot involves around ministry. What are some goals you set for your life?
Well, I'm currently in the car business, so I've been doing that for 20-some years, and I'm pretty comfortable where I'm at. But at one point, I would like to retire. Mm-hmm. I would like to pick up some sort of a hobby. I don't know what. I'm like you. I don't really particularly enjoy fishing or hunting or whatever. But
I just started interviewing people.
Maybe that's what I do.
I mean, I was nothing wrong with it. And cooking. I do cook.
But I've got to get myself in better shape. I do have to do that. And then I got to balance my time. I've been trying to do better than what I've done. Right. And I have to balance my time so to spend more time with my kids and all the grandkids and just try to enjoy them.
Enjoy them, man.
Sure.
Enjoy them, but you don't want them around all the time.
No.
I mean, I got people I talk to that, I could just keep them all the time. I said, no. I mean, mine lives next to me. One of my grandsons lives next to me. And even my grandson that we work out every morning together, I take him home and drop him off.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I mean, I like them and everything, but I don't want to keep them all the time.
Yeah.
I see people say that. Do you say that? I just love them. I could just spend all my week.
I'm kind of like my dad. My dad was like, visiting hours is over at 9 o'clock.
I do the same thing. I'll go pick their jackets up. You know what I mean? Pick her jackets up or start moving stuff around, and saying, okay, really? When y'all come on back,
Yeah.
I find myself liking it quiet, or sometimes I like it to get quiet. I like it too, but I love having them, man. I enjoy them, but I enjoy them preacher cookies. But too many will kill you.
That's true.
but when you think of goals in your life, to one day retire, one day do it, and just because you retire, don't mean you quit doing something.
No.
I mean,
no. I'd like to have more time in ministry. My job I work now is very time consuming. I get home late at night and leave early in the morning, and so I don't have a lot of time to go to nursing homes, to visit people, to do things that a pastor needs to do. So I definitely.
Well, it's hard to work like you work.
It is.
I mean, for a pastor, that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it's hard sometimes to have a church. To pastor a church that can cause you to not to have to work like that.
Right. Okay,
because it takes money to live.
Sure.
In the end. You either have to adjust the way you live or have more money.
Yeah.
And I read a book on a guy one time that had, he lived for 30 years off $130,000. And now he lived frugal. He lived in a camper part of the time and had this part of the time. But he said the biggest thing in his book he shared is you got to concentrate more on what goes out than what comes in.
Right.
And that's the gist I got of it. What we do is try to get more in.
Sure.
Instead of looking at what goes out. That's the biggest thing. When my dad passed away, I sit down with my mom and I said, now let's see where your money's going.
Right.
You know, because Dad loved to make money. I mean, Dad didn't care nothing about no vacations or nothing like that. He was awkward as could be at the beach.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't care nothing about that, and he just didn't care nothing about it. You know, but you know, we began to look at things that are going out, and I said, you know, because Dad, let's get more in. He didn't care.
Right.
Let's get more in, and we would look a lot. And I said, when I look at my life, we're always looking at what's going out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and seeing what's happening. And I think that's a big thing in life, man. And that's so. Let's talk about this. When you talk about kids, you got this big brood, okay?
Right.
My advice is, and you can take it where you want it. What happens is, you don't want to make it so comfortable that they don't leave.
Yeah.
Okay, because in the past, people do this stuff. Like every kid has its own bedroom, bathroom, all this junk. Well, they'll never leave. It's like an eagle, okay? You've told the story of the eagle, right?
Right.
Pulls the feathers out,
Sure.
lets the thorns through, little eaglets jump out.
Right.
And when the little eaglets jump out, the mother eagle doesn't find out where they're nesting and take them food. She lets them make it.
Right.
I think you can't make it so comfortable that they don't leave.
Sure.
You got to pile them in one room. You know, you got to make them suffer.
One of the best things my dad did for me, I was just newly married and was bouncing around job to job and didn't work half the time, and so I went up to his house to borrow some money one day, and I'd got money off of him over and over and over and over, and he was tired of it, and so he got in his wallet and he said, "Johnny, I'm going to give you $20. You take this $20, you do whatever you want to do with it.
Yeah.
You can go out and buy you something to eat. You can put gas in your car, whatever you want to do." He said, "You do it." He said, "But I'm not giving you another $1."
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, he actually cussed.
Yeah.
And I got in the car and I cried. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I cried. And but that next day, I got out and got me a job, and I've been working ever since. So that was the best thing he ever done for me. I knew at that point that, you know, my free ride was over.
Yeah.
And I had to stand on my own 2 feet, and he made me a man.
Yeah. Me and my dad got in a big argument. We used to argue sometimes because I was express how much smarter I was than he was. And so one night I left one night. I said, "I'm moving out. Tired of this stuff." Because I moved into one of his places and I had to pay him rent after that. And my mom used to say, "Now, the day you don't pay your rent, you have to come back home." So I went to work. I mean, you know, but I mean, there's things you have to do with your children and stuff to make them grow up. And I believe there's people in life. You know, I know there's people out there that we can help, John, that we're not helping.
Sure.
By helping.
Right.
You know, sometimes we have to let them, you know.
Yeah.
That's a hard pill to swallow.
It is, especially for a pastor.
Yeah.
There's so many needs, and, you know, yeah.
And sometimes biggest thing, people, you got to be honest sometimes and tell them the truth.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not a popular thing because not everybody can take the truth.
Right.
You know.
And you just can't, you're just not able to do things sometimes. I mean, as a pastor, I get a lot of requests for people that need help, and we're just not able to do it. There's just not enough money there to help.
Well, what about,
we'd like.
Okay, the hard thing to do, I had a gentleman come to me, I used to help him a lot. Help him with his rent and his house payment. Well, he made him a payment on the house he was living in. But one time he come to me and God said no. So he come to me and asked me, he said, I need to get this. He told me how much money. It's like $400. He said, "I got to make my house payment. I need to make, can you help me with it?" I said, I said, "I can't do it." He said, "Well, I understand if you don't have it." I said, "No, I have it. I've got the money, but I can't give it to you."
Right.
Well, all of a sudden then I become a rascal.
Yeah.
Okay? I preached on it. It's called Offended to Reality. Sometimes there's things when you have to say no when you can do it. And why do we have to be in a place to where we can't do it to say no?
Sure.
And that's a hard thing, man.
Right.
You know,
it is.
And so same thing with the Lord. Sometimes in our life, I mean, I can think of a whole bunch of things I'm glad He didn't answer.
Amen.
Whew-wee. So I mean, same things. You know, I studied for a year on God the Father, nothing but God the Father, the relationship between the Father and the Son, and how if it's like that between us and the Lord, if God's really as sharp as we say He is in our life, the things that we go through, and how much I tied His hands, and how much more He wants to do for me, and the times that He has said no, when I couldn't hear that. I just kept saying, gimme, do this, gimme, do this.
Right.
You know, and that's a hard thing, man.
It is.
And it's a hard thing with our family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's going to come times you're going to have to say, no, I can do it.
Yeah.
Now, we can hide it and say, I really don't have it. You know, I can't do this. We do that to make our flesh feel better.
Right.
But honest, sometimes we have to say, no, you know, I can give you a fishing pole, but no fish.
Right.
It's a hard thing.
Amen.
I think about it. All right, I'm going to hit you pretty hard right now. Being a husband, you seem like you're doing pretty good. Man, she seems like she likes you. What if not? She ought to go to Hollywood, okay, and be an actress because she's pretty good. All right.
She's worried about me making us work the other day.
Oh God! Let me tell y'all something. Amanda, John's little old wife, posted on Facebook. Please pray for my husband. He's slipping and sliding in the road. Now, a big, burly, 53-year-old man driving up the road. If my wife posted that, I would say, please don't do that again, honey. Going over the road. Please pray for my little husband. He's slipping and sliding.
I can't wait for your daughter to show up.
I told John, I said, if you can't make it, I'll have my little youngest daughter come pick you up. I told Kelsey, I said, little Johnny Muncy came out and made it up the road. I wouldn't even talk to the Lord about that. I didn't pray about it. I wasn't going to pray about that. I thought, gee whiz, with the world in the shape it's in, Kamala and Biden and all this mess, and I'm going to pray about poor little Johnny.
I had a good laugh.
Oh, Lord. I thought, but anyway, back to my point. Okay? Seemed like the relationship's pretty good. But if I had to say, Johnny, to become a better husband, what do you think, what would you commit? Now, this is where it's easy for you, because he was taking a breath there. He's getting ready to tell me something.
Right.
But no. Not just to become a better husband, but what would you commit to doing in your life to being a better husband?
Communicate.
Okay.
You got to communicate. You got to have that one-on-one time. You got to have that time away from the kids, from life, from the church, from everything. You have to have that communication. You have to have that connection, because it's easy to get distracted and lose a connection once. You know, it can be strong and it can be there, but after time it can fade away because of life and problems. And,
right.
And especially in ministry, when you've got people pulling at every direction.
Right.
It's hard to sometimes to have that one-on-one time, but you gotta have it. It's imperative, and you gotta listen.
So are you committing to listen more?
Oh, absolutely.
You're committing to communicate more?
Sure.
So Amanda, so if I write this down, give it to her and say we made this agreement
she
on
knows.
this day. Okay, he's committed.
Well,
I mean, there's nothing stopping you from doing it.
No.
You know, you just got to do it.
You got to do it.
You know, and would a shot caller help if she get you a little shot and said when you wouldn't communicate? But here's the deal. Let me ask you this. We talk about communication, and a lot of men do this, okay? I mean, I like it. I think it's very nice. It's very romantic. Okay, don't matter. But a lot of times you ain't got nothing to say.
Right.
A man ain't got nothing. Like when a woman says, what are you thinking? I promise you, sometimes I ain't thinking nothing.
Yeah.
My mind's just going, just sort of drifting around saying, look at that hat up there. That's a good hat, and I left it out here in the building. Or something like that. Or I need to straighten that shelf up. I ain't got a lot going on. And my wife don't believe it. She thinks it, well, no, what are you thinking?
Right.
I said, I'm not that deep.
Yeah.
I'm just not that deep. That's a hard thing.
It is.
Because you have to say, I wasn't thinking nothing.
Well, I think, and I preached it on this just a few services ago. That communication and that relationship will cause you to fall so deep in love with that person.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my wife, our thing in the morning is sit on the sit on the couch and drink coffee. She sits on one side, I sit on the other side. A lot of times she's looking at the phone, I'm looking at the phone, we're messaging somebody, talking to somebody. Then it's like going to a hospital with somebody that's sick. And you're there sitting in a chair and they're asleep. They don't even know that you're there.
Yeah.
Maybe they're on life support. Maybe
Right.
they're just asleep.
Yeah.
But just to be in their presence means something. And that's how it is. That's how it is with.
That makes sense.
It just being there, just being in each other's presence, just knowing that you're there and she's there, and
that's smart.
And it's a wonderful connection. And that's something that I prayed for. That's something I wanted. And
I see that.
I feel like I got it.
I've been married 42 years, and we can drive down the road 2 hours and not see nothing.
Right.
Okay.
But enjoy it.
We don't think about it, you know what I mean? And we can, and that little camper out there. Well, I apologize for drinking. I'm sniffing like a crackhead. But we don't have to talk all the time.
Sure. Right.
Just being in each other's presence.
Right.
I like that. Well, I'm going to let you by with that one. So to become a better husband, you got to communicate more.
Yes.
All right, tell me this. I know we're getting close on time. If I had to say what makes Johnny Muncy happy, hold on. Not in ministry. But what do you do that makes you happy? Excuse me.
I spend time with my family. That's my thing. I work and I come home. I don't usually stop. If I do, I stop at the store and I come straight home. I don't have a huge circle of friends. I've got lots of people that I'm friends with, but I don't have a lot of close people that hang out with me all the time. So my happy place is with my family, with my wife, with my kids, with the grandkids. That's where I'm most happy.
I like it.
But I tell you, I mean, and the best thing is to be in church with my family.
Right.
Now that's
I understand.
On the cake.
I understand. I'm with you on it. And I think sometimes we have to make sure we do things that make us happy.
Sure.
I mean, I can come out here in this shed and do things and straighten up or rebuild something or do something, and I'm just as content, you know. I can do silly stuff.
Well, you got me beat. I mean, I don't know what half of this stuff is, so you do have some sort of
you know, Jimmy Dickens is a car salesman too, okay? Like he is. He come in here and he looked at this. He said, my wife would just want to buy the building and everything in it. She just wants to leave everything. Okay? But I like to organize stuff. I mean, I put stuff in every crate. I organize my hardware, my screws, my nails. CB radios, I know where they are. I put everything in, because I found stuff is good, but if you don't know where it is, it ain't much count.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I bring every battery in the wintertime and put them on trickle charge and line them up. I got a whole shelf down there built underneath that thing with batteries on it. I keep everything going. I don't know. And I do stuff that's crazy, but I'm a little older too. I mean, I'm 65, almost 66, so you got something to look forward to. But I mean, I look at stuff in the life I enjoy doing. Like the other day, I them sawhorses. I couldn't figure out what to do with them. Had them all hanging there cockeyed. They always aggravate me. And I said, I'm going to build a little shelf and put me some bands and fix that on there. I said, I'm going to call Janice out here after I do it. She's going to say, oh, what a stud. So I called her. I said, she's going to giggle when she sees him. So I built that and put them in there so neat. And I hollered. I said, honey, come and look. Come and look what I've done. Come see what your big burly man's done. Okay? She come out here. She looks, oh, that is just so cute. You've done such a good job. Okay? She was thrilled with it. I was thrilled with it. I mean, I enjoy it. I think you got to enjoy yourself alone. I enjoy people.
Yeah.
I stop and talk to anybody, you know, and I enjoy that. And I just like talking. I like listening to you. I enjoy listening to this stuff, man, and hearing the things you go through in your life, and I glean from it and plant that in my life, and I think about stuff, and I talk to my children about it, and my grandchildren.
Right.
I think there's some things that, when you talk about grandkids, I try to take my grandkids and show them tools, teach them what screwdrivers are, because they don't know.
Right.
And teach them what it is. And my little old grandson's 4. I'll take 20 screwdrivers and pour out on the ground and make him pick the flatheads and the Phillips and pick them and Phillips. And I make him pick them.
Yeah.
What's that? What's that? What's that? I shared a while back. Now, when he gets one wrong, I hit him on the head. Okay? That's the best thing you can do. I pick him. And when he knows he don't quite know, he starts squinching his eyes. Because he knows I was going to hit him on the head. But he got to where he really could remember good.
Right.
So Carter and I bring him out. We was putting some ends. I had an old extension cord that the ends were bad on. So I will let him wire up receptacles. I make him do all kinds of stuff to show him how to do it. But I said, we're going to wire up this extension cord, which sounds like a simple thing, but it wasn't. We did get shocked once. He got shocked pretty good. But anyway, I would say you have to turn it clockwise. But kids don't know what way a clock turns.
Right.
They know it flips over and changes the number. So when he get it wrong, I'd hit him on the head. He got to where he knew what clockwise and counterclockwise was. I think sometimes in life, we don't have any there's no repercussion.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's just no repercussion. And we have to know, man, this is going to, in life and stuff that you and I do, there's cause and effect.
Yeah.
And everything from people we know, the relationships we lead in our life, the things we do with our money. I mean, there's repercussions down the road on this stuff.
Absolutely.
And I don't know. I try to be careful, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a little old for it, but, I think about that. And I think about what makes me happy and what I enjoy.
Yeah.
I pastored 20 years, and you and I have been up and down the road together, and we went to Mexico together. That was a good trip, life-threatening trip.
Yeah.
We almost got killed.
2 times.
Yeah, it was a life-threatening trip we went on.
Literally.
Steve Jones keep asking me to go places with him now. I said, I did go to Hawaii with him a while back, and he keeps wanting me to go back again. I said, no, I don't want to even go to Hawaii with you. He's wrote a book. It's on Amazon.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
He's wrote a book in it, and I'm in it.
Oh, wow.
But it's not me as a person. There's a character named Dash. That's a FBI agent. It's a real cool book. But anyway, I don't know. I think about life and how much fun it can be, Johnny.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to lighten up, don't we? We have to really lighten up and enjoy our life.
We do.
If we don't, we'll look up and it'll be over like our daddies. Okay?
Absolutely.
And we have to do a better job.
Yeah.
I mean, I want my son to be a better dad than I was.
Absolutely.
I really do. And I want my daughters to be a better mother than their mom was.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to work on. We got
Right.
It has to go with those things. And but it's something. There'll be things that you have already experienced. You think about as your kids grow up. What are some changes you think? What are some changes in your mind as your kids have grown up that you didn't think? Things that really you thought, nah, that really have changed in your mind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes you expect one thing and something else happens. Life is not always easy, and it's not always good. There's lots of sadness and lots of issues in life. But to teach our kids to lean upon the Lord and teach our kids, that they can do better than what we did.
Right.
And I tell my boy all the time, and I tell my kids, I'm like, you watch your mom and I. Watch what we do, how we act, how we respond to things, and learn from our mistakes.
Right.
And I want them to do that. I want them to learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
I've made plenty of them. But yes, things you get surprised sometimes. I've been surprised,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Well, it's something. I don't think you can grow up till you have children. I mean, I see people that I know that never had kids. And they're good people. I'm not saying they're bad people, but you can't hardly grow up till you have kids.
Yeah, it's no more anything about you, but it becomes all about your children.
Yeah, I've seen it. I don't know. I see it happen a lot in people's life. I just try to. I don't know. I think this point in my life, I'm in a different season. Life's about seasons.
Absolutely.
I think if you don't, you'll find yourself standing in the snow in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt.
Right. Yeah.
Unless you're apostolic, then there'll be a long sleeve t-shirt. Okay. But I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Long denim skirt, but you'll be there.
Right.
But I mean, I think it's just life is, the Lord wants us to enjoy our life. We take things back, and I just don't think He wants us all to be covered in sackcloth and ashes all the time.
No.
I really believe that if He's God the Father,
right,
and if He really is better than I am, I think of how much I want for my children.
Sure.
And how much more my children don't even have to ask me for, that I'm looking, searching, seeing what I can do for them. If I'm like that rotten as I am, how much more is God?
Absolutely.
How much more is He really out there with us working?
Absolutely.
With I just think that, I tell you, I've enjoyed you being here with me. I appreciate you taking time. I know you're working all the time, and I appreciate you paying in that Social Security so I can get it out. Keep putting it in there.
Keep putting it in.
Cut a little more. I said, cut a little more. Give me a raise. Oh, that's the only thing Biden has done for me. Got me raises on my Social Security. That cost of living going up. They can't take it back away from me now.
Yeah, no. Once they give it, you can't take it back.
I get it on the 16th of every month. It's like I've hit the lottery. I asked my wife, my check come in? I'm worth more now than I ever have been. Do you cook, John?
No, I don't. I eat.
You don't cook at all?
No, I don't.
Well, that's terrible.
No. I work and preach.
Yeah.
That's it.
I never cooked till COVID.
Yeah.
And I've shared this before. I watched a guy, and I watched him last night again. I watched him. Yeah, I called him Drunk Steve. I watched him on YouTube. He had a beer fund, but he would go out and camp out in places underneath billboards or in cul-de-sac or something. He would camp out in places, and he would cook over a little fire. He'd get out his beef and his butter and his potatoes.
Right.
And I said, I got to watching that. I said, I believe I can do that. And Janice said, what? And I said, I believe I can cook. And I got to cooking, and now I do all the cooking.
I think I'd enjoy it. I think I would, actually.
You know why? I'll tell you why I like it. In my life, there's never anything I've done work-related that's finished.
Right.
TV's never done. It goes 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I found in ministry, never finished. You don't go to church one day over at Forward Ministries and say, okay, everybody's saved, let's shut down. Okay? Right?
Right.
It's never finished.
Never finished.
But when I cook, I have a feeling of accomplishment. I put that in there, if it's beans or potatoes or a steak or whatever I'm doing, and I see the start of it, I see the middle of it, and I see the end of it. When everybody's smiling, come to the house and eat.
Yeah.
And I actually feel like I've done something that I can see.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's why I build. I like to build stuff and create stuff and do things because I actually can see something, because so much of my life has never been a finished product.
Right.
It can't never finish. Television is never finished. I mean, it just don't quit.
Right.
Okay? I mean, I've got meetings with people in Canada tomorrow. I've got people with Georgia. I got all the people wanting to do this, want to do that, and I just, I don't know. It just never stops. And they get upset with me sometimes because they want me to work, and I say, I just don't feel like it.
Right.
I don't want to. Well, it makes X amount of dollars. I said, well, I know, and I could use some money, don't get me wrong. But I don't think I want to do it.
Yeah.
I think I'm all right. I got more blue jeans than I can wear. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I ain't got a big family like you got.
Yeah, sure.
I feel sorry for you. I do feel compassion for you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I do feel sorry. Now, I don't mean I won't laugh at you. But golly. My cousin Dwayne, he's got 2 boys. Young boys, high school boys and stuff like that, because he married a young woman. So, the family got that family raising. I laugh at him all the time because he's old like me. But he's got to keep working.
Yeah.
And keep doing it. And he'll say, where are you going? I say, I'm going to Myrtle Beach for a couple of days, I think. Janice and I leave here, and we don't decide where we're going sometimes till we get to the end of Maple Street. And we say, are we going 77 or 40? Right. We try to think, well, which way we want to go? I said, and he says, well, enjoy it. I said, I will.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a season.
That's my goal.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
I'm telling you, it's a season.
Yeah.
And first thing you got to do is get everybody taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
And you have to do like your daddy did. This last 20 I'm going to give you.
Right.
You know, it's the last 20.
Yeah.
And you might cry. They might cry a little bit in the car. Like you did.
I did.
Okay. But the thing about it is, you know, it's the best thing for you.
Right.
Wasn't it?
It was.
It
Absolutely.
really
It was the best thing Dad did for me.
Yeah, I think about that, man, in life. I think about your daddy. I think about growing up and stuff. And I know a lot of people don't understand that. When you lose your father, because it's tough.
It is.
It really is. It's a hard thing. You know, and like I said, you got to step up. You had to step up. You didn't have time to mourn.
No.
Don't know. And I think about it, man, there's times my heart's been broke. Still got his, where he called me, left messages on my phone. I still keep the messages. Still got stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I can't listen to him, but I see him on there. I see
Yeah.
his name on there, you know, and I see the videos. And I still show his TV programs, but I can't watch them.
Yeah.
But I still show them. I figure it's the words he shared, and it touches lives.
He was a wonderful man of God.
Yeah, he was.
He was
I always
awesome.
talked about the formulas of life.
Yeah.
I always had a formula. He said, this is a formula, you know, and he called me every evening. We watched Tucker Carlson together. We'd watch it, you know. And the big thing I found when my dad died is I had this time that was open in my life that I didn't know what to do with, that I was always talking to him about.
Right.
Strange. Well, anyway, I appreciate Johnny being here with me. And, good man, good pastor, good fella. So on a husband and father. He's working on that. He's made some commitments about that. We'll see how that goes, because we have a recorded version. Now we can share it. We can show for posterity or posterity. One of them words there. But anyway, I appreciate you watching Just From the Shed. This was recorded in our high dollar studio right here in Tazewell, Virginia, at a secret location. And we just appreciate you watching. Some of the things Johnny shared today, you can't get these things at Harvard and Columbia and all the big colleges. You can't get these words. And heed to them and listen to them. He shared some things that have helped you in your life. And some things and caution, things he's been through, he don't want you to have to go through.
Amen.
And that's what this is about, is sharing some information. It's time to do it, man. We don't want to go to the grave with you. We want you to be able to share it and share it with other people. God bless you. Appreciate you watching Just From the Shed. And be sure and pass the ammunition. Adios.